So Roy Raji just won Chaos Pantheon Series 2 from 59 player participants. But the coolest part is that he was winning with Kadena Slinking Sorcerer. And for those that don't straight up know exactly what that is, it's the Sultai Morph commander. Now we only have exactly 3 tournament entries with Kadena Slinking Sorcerer, all by Roy Raji. So he has 4 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, then 1 win, 1 loss, 2 draws, 1 win, 2 losses and 2 draws. He's been playing in Mox Masters February 2024, Tornado something, and Chaos Pantheon. As we don't have huge sample size, we won't go into the card win rate data statistics. Instead, we will be looking into what he is kind of playing and speculate on how good this kind of strategy is, because there are some statistics we can actually look into, but it will not be a typical deep dive that we usually do. First and foremost, I'm kinda happy this actually won, because this is one of the more rare commanders to see winning a match. It's not what you expect to win a tournament. As this is not Grixis, this is Sultai, and it's mid-range, not truly turbo. And you have to play Morph cards to make it work, which is kinda weird. But you do have a few cool ones, like this one. So Mega Morph, when Stratus Dancer is turned face up, counter target instant or sorcery spell. Similar to this one, when Void Mage Apprentice is turned face up, counter target spell. When Willbender is turned face up, change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. When this thing is turned face up, destroy target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. When Den Protector is turned face up, return target card from your graveyard to your hand. When Nutuku Village is turned face up, destroy target artifact or enchantment. And then you have this Vesuva shapeshifter that becomes a copy of something when it's turned face up. This is actually kinda cool. When this thing is turned face up, counter all abilities your opponents control. This is actually really good versus opponent's Thassa's Oracle, because it's actually kinda hard to interact with this with various things. You can even do this through silence, as this is an ability and not a spell. And I have to say I like that. That brings a very ninja, an assassin or a surprise or a trap feeling. So you're basically putting things into play for free, and when you do, you get to draw cards, and then you have some surprise interactive abilities here and there. Definitely out of the ordinary, and I love it. When this thing is turned face up, copy target instant or sorcery spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. Yeah, that's also kinda cool. When this thing is turned face up, return another target creature to its owner's hand, like a bounce effect, like a small creature spot removal. So we have some cool Morph tribal going on here, but I want to emphasize something very important to all of you who are, oh my god, I'm gonna play so much Morph. He doesn't play a huge amount. Now we play a few, but he's still playing a lot of really good cards in general, like Oppo Agent, Orcish Bowmaster, Talion, Manglehorn. Seedborn use is interesting. Elvish Spirit Guide, Bird, Bloom, Deathrite, Delighted Halfling, Phyrexian Metamorph, Thassa's Oracle. So he's still playing a proper, decent, typical cEDH build in general. He's just adding in Morph cards that are actually good, but will synergize better with the commander. He's not going Morph tribal, he's just playing the good ones. We don't have Ad Nauseam. Instead, we have the typical Consult and Tainted Pact together with Thassa's Oracle, Meme Betrayal, we have the One Ring, and a very cool enchantment. Elven Chorus. Elven Chorus. I think that's how you say it. So it's a 4-mana cost enchantment. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may cast creature spells from the top of your library, and creatures you control have tap add 1 mana of any color. Honestly, kinda good. It's a mid-range card in general. Very good in creature-heavy builds, if you're looking for more mana production, but also looking for a form of card draw effect as well. He currently has 30 creatures in this deck to utilize that enchantment. Now, besides the Thassa's Consult victory that he has, he also have the Hullbreaker Horror combo. And you might be skeptical on how is this actually going to work out. Well, Hullbreaker Horror will first and foremost generate infinite mana if you have these 2 artifacts or something of the sort. You can replace that Mox Opal and you can replace that Sol Ring with Mana Vaults, Mana Crypts and such. You can cast one of them, bounce the other one, tap it, generate mana, cast the other one, and basically go infinite. You're utilizing ritual artifacts here, together with Hullbreaker Horror, generating infinite mana. And then you have, whenever a face-down creature enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. So once you have infinite mana, if you also have a Morph creature, it doesn't matter if it's actually turned face up, just cast your Sol Ring, return your Morph creature, cast it for free mana. Yes, I know, the first face-down creature spell you cast each turn costs 3 or less to cast. So you have to pay the free now, but still you have infinite colorless mana, so you can still cast it without a problem. Now bounce your Sol Ring back to your hand, draw a card from commander, recast the Sol Ring, return the Morph creature, cast the Morph creature for infinite colorless from the infinite colorless mana, and repeat this process to draw out your entire deck. And from here you can basically just cast Thassa's Oracle and finish the game. And this is also why you're not playing ad nauseum. We're playing a few value engines like Seedborn Muse, Talion, the Kindly Lord, and Fairy Mastermind. Already mentioned the One Ring, pretty good. This and Seedborn Muse is amazing. But I can't resist trying to look into data and see on like how good are these decisions that this person have chosen to do. So one card he was playing was this Teferi Mage of something, Flash. Creature cards you own that aren't in play have Flash. Each opponent can play spells only anytime he or she could play a sorcery. So it's a combination of both Grand Abolisher and Born Upon a Wind together at the same time. The only problem is that it's quite expensive. Triple blue and 2 generic, a total of 5 mana is quite a lot. But it will still do a very good job if you're able to get it into play. I have actually seen other people play this in usually cEDH, but sometimes as well in other builds too. Now, like I mentioned before, we didn't really have a huge sample size for this specific commander, but I have a really large sample size of various other commanders. You can see their total decks, 14,800. That's the amount of different tournament entries of various different unique commanders that I've collected. And among them, we have 103 decks that have included this Teferi, but also excluded ad nauseum, something our champion did. He is playing this, but excluding ad nauseum, and as you can see, win rate 25%, while the win rate without this thing is 21.81. So it seems to be, it seems to be working out. But you have to kind of take things into perspective and look at things in different angles, and I believe cEDH is the commander that is boosting this choice up quite a lot. So what I did was take a look at, if you're also excluding cEDH, how will the win rate convert? So as you can see here, it went from 25 down to 21. So it kind of looks like Teferi is good for cEDH, and yeah, it's maybe not so good. Hard to say. Like, data is not everything, but I truly think that cEDH is having an impact on that creature. I think that this is a very good card for cEDH specifically. It seems to be working out okay-ish for other commanders as well, but better when you're having it in a cEDH build, which we don't have in this case. I also decided to look into Sultai using the Demonic Consultation, Tainted Pact, and Thassa's Oracle, excluding ad nauseum, something he did. He basically made this choice. We have 305 decks that have done this, playing Sultai and playing these 3 cards and excluding ad nauseum, and those 305 decks have achieved a total 20.56 average win rate compared to the other group, which is 21.86. So it's a tiny drop compared to the total average. I have looked at this combination without looking into Grixis, for example, looking at Dimir, and it's usually the same win rate in general. This is okay and good combo, but it's usually shining when you're playing Grixis. Then I decided to take a look at some other cards he was playing in various combinations. So for example, he can't play Dockside, he isn't playing Adnos or Peer, but he's playing all these 5 cards: Fairy Mastermind, Hullbreaker Horror, Seedborn Muse, Talion, and the One Ring. And it's showcasing a huge promise, but the sample size is only 10, so we can't say anything. But it's showcasing a promise. We also have this variation: Fairy Mastermind, Oppo Agent, Orcish Bowmaster, Seedborn Muse, Talion, and the One Ring. But honestly, it's a very low sample size. And you might be questioning, why am I then just even showcasing this, because we can't really say anything from it. There is one thing we could actually say from this, and that is that we're starting, or well, I am starting to see a trend. And that is that mid-range is kinda on the rise. What I mean by that is that I have been heavily recommending Adnos Turbo in general, and Grixis is showcasing some dominating results. But I have started to notice that a few value engine mid-range cards are starting to perform really good. Like the trend of various cards here are suddenly going like a little bit up, while some turbo cards are kinda going a little bit down. Give and take. Something I talked about in a previous video about Kenrith and CC as well is that when we looked into Kenrith, because we have a lot of actual data on Kenrith, we could clearly see that Kenrith playing a mid-range game plan was a better choice compared to Kenrith playing a turbo game plan. And when Kenrith actually played a mid-range game plan, it kinda performed really well. Like the win rates were suddenly quite promising and something you should kinda aim for. So I'm not saying that turbo is out of the picture, you shouldn't play turbo. I still think that having a fast, efficient, consistent game plan, a path towards a combo victory, is still the way to go. But it seems to be that potential mid-range commanders entering into tournaments seems to be working out. Like a few months ago, I would never really believe that Kadena, a Slinking Sorcerer, would be something to consider for a cEDH tournament. Like I wouldn't truly recommend it back then. But now I'm starting to consider this having potential. And it should also be mentioned that I have a feeling Wizards of the Coast are going to print more face-down creatures in the future. Something they have just recently done, by the way, to boost this commander's potential. For example, he is playing this new coveted Falcon, flying 1/4 bird artifact creature. Whenever coveted Falcon attacks, gain control of target permanent you own but don't control. Disguise. When this thing is turned face up, target opponent gains control of any number of target permanents you control. Draw a card for each one they gain control of this way. So it's a very strange card draw effect that is good for this specific commander. And who knows, maybe we'll see, or probably we will see, more power creep in the Morph variant. But I highly want to emphasize that we are playing a typical, in general, cEDH build. We're just adding a few strange Morph creatures that this commander could utilize. He's actually playing a total of 12 different Morph creatures, and that's it. The rest is typical cEDH stuff in Sultai. Now one thing we could do is actually look at his older version. So this is not the deck he won Pantheon with, but it's still kinda similar. We have Brine Elemental, he didn't have that in the winning deck. We have Gracilex, this one was there before. He's playing Notion Thief here, he was not playing that in the winning deck version. Elven Chorus is still here. The One Ring is here. He's actually playing a little bit less artifacts in this version and more creatures, and in the more updated version he's playing less creatures and more artifacts. He is still not going for Ad Nauseam, but he's still going for the Hullbreaker Horror. So that has not changed. Now as always, link in the description below of the video to this webpage where you can see all potential Kadena Slinking Sorcerer deck lists that have entered into tournaments. We currently only have 3, but in the future we hopefully will have more, as this is a commander I'm kinda looking forward to see more of. It's a cool concept, I like Morph, I like the sneaky stuff. And considering Kadena just won a tournament, the commander definitely deserves a shout out. I hope you got inspired and learned something new. Take care guys, and I'll see you next time.